You may want to move closer to the microphone.
All right, I think now I'm more clear. Can you see a screen that I'm sharing? Mr.
Not
Tiana,
yet.
can you see them? Okay, not yet. Okay. You can see it now?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, team. So today we'll go through the reports, but I think the first thing we should do is just have a recap on what we did last week to remind us so that we can get on course. So the first thing we did last week, we introduced ourselves to module creation. I think Makombe took you through that and how to set up the environment. And we had a module ready for our development. I think some of our team members have already started working from this end. Next, we introduced our team on form development. And we came up with one form that is an inpatient form. It had 2 variables. We taught ourselves how to update the 2 variables, add a new variable that was age. So we had a next of kin, name, age, and I think date. And we introduced on how to add this on the form and how it reflects on the interface. I think also we had a session on a small talk on the identifiers and how to add them on the module application context and the context in which they need to be added. Anthony took us a bit on reports last time, and they show us on the various types of reports, mainly the cohort report and the indicator report. And also we kind of had an overview on the programs. So I think that's more recap on what we did last time. So today we want to focus on reports. We want to pick it from where we had read the last time. So the last session we had 2 types of reports, and that was the cohort report and the indicator report. And we say that mainly the indicator report answers the questions, how many? So it could be how many people are registered, how many people are enrolled, how many people have done stability assessment, how many people. So basically the output is a number for a particular indicator. So basically that's where I think the indicator reports comes from. And the cohort report basically says, this basically gives you a list of people with some attributes. So it could be like a line list of people with particular characteristics. Normally, there are a defined set of characteristics, or rather attributes that are by default. That could be the age, the CCC number, date of birth, but we have others which we can define. So we could have a line list of people on ART, a line list of people who are probably current in care. So that is the main difference. So going deeper, you could say when you want to differentiate these two reports, one of them is row-based, where the other is more or less. So you add a column. So most of them you add a column for each row, and the other one is kind of the opposite. But we'll go deeper into that once on the next session. So, and also we kind of concluded and say that mainly the differentiating aspect on this is found on the builders. So each type of report has a separate builder and a mechanism to add them. So we'll go to this deeper. So this is just a recap. So, the foundation of all these reports will be the ETL. And here is where we want to start from the ETL overview. Basically, ETL means extraction, transform, and load. And I think a brief history from this is that a brief history of this is that each table in the ETL, I think most of us are familiar with the ETL tables, but the basic structure is that it's a table per form. So each form translates to a table in the ETL. So if you relate with that, then the variables will become the columns. So if you have a form, let's say I'll give probably the form that we did last time, the inpatient form. That one will be an inpatient table in the ETL. The variables, which were the names, I think, age and date, will be the columns. So a good example from what we did the last time, that will how it would reflect in the ETL. So that is the basic approach. I think something else to note is that a small overview on the tables that on the databases that we use is the OpenMRS table database, which all of us are all familiar with. It's basically a transactional table. This means for each particular form that you fill, it will translate to a saved observation. Mostly they are saved observations in the OpenMRS database in the table called OBS. So we have a table called OBS. Then observations are basically the what can I call them? The indicators that the client, the clinician records for client, and they are based on encounters, and the counters are based on visits. So all those are tables within the OpenMRS database, that is the observations, encounters, and visits. So that's what I mean by saying that it's basically a transactional database. Then next we have, after a set of operations, we come up with the two tables called Kenya EMR ETL and Kenya EMR data tools. So Kenya EMR ETL is basically for internal reporting. Basically, it flattens the OpenMRS and creates tables which are based on forms. And we use this for mainly internal reporting. I think this one will get clear when we demonstrate, but it's as simple as that. Basically, we pick the transactional table, flatten it into table per form approach, and we use this for internal reporting. Then we have another set of database called Kenya EMR data tools. This one is mainly for ad hoc reporting. So if you have team members who want to do reporting, which are not the standard reports, you can easily get this from the Kenya EMR data tools. They are close to, they are very much related to Kenya EMR ETL, only that on the data tool side, it is has human readable values rather than the concepts that we normally use. So, and then Kenya EMR ETL and data tools can be used with the data tools app, which I think most of us are familiar with. And this one is basically, its main purpose is for ad hoc reporting. Next is to say that the basic language for all this is SQL, which I think most of us are familiar with. So the basic where the basic foundation blocks for reporting is from the ETL. So, and this basically, this is where we query so that we get values that will be populated in the report. So a continuation of this is that to build the ETL tables, we use a set of stored procedures, and there are mainly three, that is the DDL, DML, and scheduled updates. DDL means it's basically a procedure to create the schemas for the various tables. So this one will create tables and the columns, while the DML will populate these tables, and eventually the scheduled updates will maintain current values at each particular point. So basically we have a procedure that we have a scheduled task that updates the tables after each and every particular, after some set time, so that we always have tables running with current data. So I think this is the basic structure of the ETL. So we have the various tables, Kenya EMR ETL, Kenya EMR data tools, which are a flattened version of the transactional OpenMRS database. And these are developed from the stored procedures, DDL, DML, and scheduled updates. I think I'm almost coming to a close on the presentation. So I think if you have any questions, you should be asked. And yes, so I think from there, we will go to actually the actual reports development. If there's anybody with a question on this first part, you can ask.
So just to add briefly on what Patrick has said, The essence of us using ETL in terms of reporting is because the way OpenMRS was designed, the ops table is stores data vertically. What I mean in that sense is that each and every field that is recorded in the ops table is recorded as a row. So meaning if you are to answer maybe a simple question like maybe how many people have weight over maybe 20 kgs, it will become very difficult because for each and every individual, you have to skim through the orbs just to extract that simple data. And that's why the introduction of ETL, so that you can flatten everything such that if you record, let's say, a triage for today, everything is recorded in a simple row. So like there are several columns introduced as you will be shown in the ETL, just to represent that data as one record, just as a single row, one row. Instead of collecting like, if you fill the tag form and you will realize that if you go to the ops table, you may find that you've created like maybe 20 rows. So that is compressed into one row, just to help you answer a simple question like maybe something like height or weight as an example. So that's why all our reportings are being done through the table. So you realize that the ops table is not flat, whereas other tables in the OpenMRS are flat. Like if you maybe talk of the orders table, the persons table, they are flat. Like you can, each record is recorded as just a single row, unlike the ops table. So it's because of the ops table, that's why the ETL comes in to enhance, to make that reporting faster. If you just query the ops directly, in answering a simple question just the way I've stated, the report can run like, let's say, a whole day just to generate that. So to make that thing simple and to make the reports to run very fast, maybe in seconds or in a minute, that's why we resorted to the ETL. So any question? If there are no questions, I think Patrick will take it over from there.
All right. Thank you, Makombe. I think now we're going to go on a more practical approach on how we come about with all this. And for us to demonstrate, first of all, the ETL to the team on where we get the data from, I'm going to share one of my screens here. Okay. I think you can see my screen. Mr. Otieno, can you see my screen? All right, yeah. So you can see here I have highlighted there is this Kenya EMR data tools table and Kenya EMR ETL. So we have an OpenMRS database here. So this is the transactional database. And then we have Kenya EMR ETL and Kenya EMR data tools. I'm just going to open up one of the databases for me to show you how it really is. So as you can see, all these tables that have a prefix ETL underscore. So we have at preparation, CCC default at tracing. You can go all the way to drug event, HIV enrollment, HIV follow-up, IPT. So basically, most of these are basically forms in the database that are converted to a table. As I had mentioned before on the approach, it's a table per form approach. So all of this open up, let's say one, let me just open up HIV patient follow-up, which I think most of us know we get our data from. If I were to show you on the structure, these are all the variables that we collect now, which have been transformed into columns. So we probably, if you can start from the visit scheduled, I think most of us can relate on our green card that we start with whether the client had the visit was scheduled. So we pick visit scheduled person, whether it was the person who came or the treatment supporter, weight, pressure, that the BP, systolic, diastolic, all these now variables become columns. And the more, when a form has many, the more the variables, the more the columns in the table. Basically, it makes sense. Like if you have a form with very many variables, the columns would be as many. And if I can show you on the values that have been saved, you can see all these values, and some are null, some are coded on this. So if you can see if the person is present, is a coded concept. So this is in the ETL tables. Most of the values here are coded. And basically this is a flattened form of the OBS table for HIV follow-up. So this is the ETL tables. Next is the Kenya EMR data tools table. So this one I said is for ad hoc reporting, and it's for if you want to pull values directly to the Kenya EMR data tools. I'll go basically to the same table that I had highlighted. And as you can see now, we have some very readable data. You can see stuff like weight, which is 60. You can see height, temperature, something like sputum ordered noise. So basically human readable aspects of the same data. So these are the two tables that basically constitute the reporting, but mostly for our purpose, that is internal reporting, we'll use the Kenya EMR ETL. So that is basically the ETL overview. So I think from here next now we have a deep dive on the actual reporting. So on the actual reporting, so I'm going to share one of the modules that we use for reporting in a moment. I think it's visible. So tables are kind of created by basically queries, and these queries are in this module we call it chat module. And as you can recall what I said, that we have basically 3 stored procedures, and this is where they are. So we have the DDL, which I had said basically it creates the table schema. The schema, that is the structures. So as you can see here, we basically are dropping table and creating table and giving the table columns. That's it. So it creates an empty schema. Then the next is the DML, which now populates this schema. So it uses the schema that have been developed by the DDL and populates data into it. And then we have the scheduled updates that runs scheduled kind of updates to that data that has been populated. And the basis for this is to make sure that you have updated data throughout. And these are run by the scheduled stuff. So this is basically how we maintain the ETL tables. So we first get the forms from, we basically get the tables from the table per form structure and create the the table schemas populated by the DML and maintain its currency by scheduled updates. And from here, we have a table that is always updated that we can query from it and get very updated values. I think that is the ETL overview. I think next you're going to go to the actual now reporting, unless there's any question. Any question from the team? So I'm going to share now some Kinematic reporting structures. A minute.
Yeah, is it only me or what? I cannot hear the presenter.
Mr. Teno, give me a minute. We are trying to process something.
Okay.
Like a minute. Okay. Okay, let me now share my screen. Okay, I'm sharing one of my screen. So we are going to pick one report. So let's start with an indicator report. So we'll start from the front end, and I'll show you how it looks, and then we'll go back to how it is developed, so that you can relate from the front end to the back end. So I've chosen one report called, it's under Commons, it's called Differentiated Care Report for Current in Care Clients. So this is clients who are basically stable. If I click it and let me just request it, and I request this report, it's called Differentiated Care Report for Current in Care Patients. So I've requested for the month of 2017. So you can see basically it has numbers. And can you hear?
We can hear, but we cannot see.
Cannot see. Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, we can see it now.
Yes, so I think I can just go back and show you how I've requested it. So basically, it's a report under Commons. It's a report under Commons, so it is called Differentiated Care Report for Current in-care Patients. So I basically request it in just do another report for September to be the same report. And we have a view. So as you can see, it's basically numbers. This is I think a perfect example of the indicator report. It doesn't have clients, although you can click on the clients and view them. But so for you to develop this report, I think we basically go to the backend and try to develop it. But if you can just click one of the variables, you can see now you have their details, the names, age, sex, unique identifiers, and start at date VL, but I'll close. But for you to come up with this report, I think the next step, we're going to go back to the code and have a feeling on how we've developed this report up to this stage. So I'm going to share my code in a minute so that, but you can have a feel of, or rather a view of how it will be generated. I'll show you once you're done with the how to make it. So let me share my code in a minute. Can you see something?
Yes, we can see the code.
Can you see it now? Okay, yeah. So as I had mentioned earlier, the main differentiating aspect for this report is found in the builder. And so as you can see, I've gone under reporting builder, HIV, and this is the report builder for that one. So it's called Diff Care Stability Report Builder. It is. So this is basically how it looks. These things like that. So basically, it's an indicator library. As you can see, we have diff care indicator library for it. We have dimensions. These ones are the various aggregations for it. And you can see the data sets. We've called it stability because basically it relates to patients who are stable. We have added the cohort indicator dataset definitions. I'll show you this one in a minute, but I just want us to have a feel of how the builder, this which wires up all these various aspects is done. And very important, the various rows that had been added, like you saw a set of rows which had like stable patients with 1 month prescription, stable patients with 2 months prescription. Those are the rows that made up the report. This is where they are added. As you can see, they added like EMR reporting utils.add row. So it was very important for us to show that for this one, for indicator reports, it's very important for you to differentiate them. They are easily differentiable by this part of where you add the rows. And when you add the rows, each particular count, it will give you the value at the end. So the various rows are here. So you can see all of them here. Stable patient with 1 month prescription, 2 months prescription, 3 months. And you can see how you get the values and the disaggregations. So basically, this report has a number of other pieces which you're going to go through. One of them is it has an indicator library and a cohort library. So the indicator library is called here, where you can see differentiated care, this care stability library. So we are going to go to it. This basically are the ones that this is where we use the various tables to query the data. As you can recall, we had the first part of how this ETL data is achieved. So I'm going to take you directly to the indicator cohort library to show you the query. So you remember we had our ETL tables, the Kenya ETL tables, which I said are basically the internal reporting tables. So for each and every report based on the ETLs, we query from the ETL tables. Like here you can see we have a query of select patient ID from. So another aspect of an indicator library is that we just need a count of the patient IDs. We don't need more data from it. We just need the account of the patient IDs. So like for example, if we need this query that needs stable under 4 months TCA, we just say select patient ID from. So you select, and the selection is from Kenyaemar.etl current in care, and this person has a TCA from. So I think you can all have a view on this query, the way it is done. But the most important aspect to make sure you're selecting patient ID for an indicator library, and you're selecting from the Kenya EMR tables. And for the various disaggregations, you need to put the disaggregation there. So for this one is like under 4 months, and you can see here, you've selected like the TCA is under 4 months. So this is basically basic SQL. However, if you paste, hello?
Patrick?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kevin Camino has a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, yes, Patrick, how are you?
I'm fine, Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, in the query, the same way I'm seeing /n equals /1/n.
Yes, that is what I wanted to go to. I was saying, normally you would query, you develop a query in a query builder, or rather probably you can even use the various platforms. But if you pick that query and paste it here, this is Java based, as you can see, it's .java. It will insert this /n. You won't actually have to. This is it's a line break. These are line breaks. So for this one, you won't have to put the /n. But if you paste your query here, it will add them, because they are basically line breaks for Java based platforms. Is that clear?
Okay, that's clear. Thanks.
So N simply means a new line. So you can see whenever you see N, the next thing start on another line, right? So it's just like bring that thing to a new line. Nothing special about it in the query.
Yes, and in addition, you normally don't have to add them. You just do your query, make sure that it is running in a query builder, and then you paste it here, and then it will insert these line breaks for you.
Yeah, and maybe just to add that they're just for readability purposes, because you have an option of having one long line, but you see you'll need to be scrolling. So when you want to write this maybe on some editor, you'll always maybe break so that you have the select one to be on line 1 from line 2. So this simply maintains the formatting that you had or you wanted. Yeah, I thought I should just add that. Thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, I think we can go ahead. So if you can recall from our query, it had various disaggregations. So you could have stable patients, 1 month prescription, and then there's the age and the gender. So for the age and the gender, we are going to have it separate from this. I'm going to show you, but what we normally pick from this particular cohort library is we need to know the month, the TCA months. So you can see we have under 4 months, we have over 6 months, we have multi-months. So these are the various disaggregation that are required in the report. So you could have a report with various requirements with disaggregations. And then we have unstable, undocumented. So these are the various, like the report that was requested with these particular disaggregations. So the reporting framework has some custom disaggregations that are done by the system. So that this could be the age and the gender. You remember these particular variables are added when you are registering. So not normally when you are doing the actual HIV form. So the system, those two disaggregations, it can already do it for you. But now for the particular items that you added, let's say the next appointment date or a variable like whether the client is stable or not, this is what we normally query. And after querying this one and adding it in the cohort, you can add the custom disaggregations for this from the system, such as the age and the gender, the particular rows that are required in your report. And as you can see, we have a number of them here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 queries. So this is where basically we query. And you can see this is a SQL query. Once you make sure that your query is okay, you just, so this is the cohort library. So this one essentially picks your result.
Yeah, Patrick, maybe before you move from here, I think it's good to understand the kind of report we are building. It's an indicator report where we are trying to answer the questions like how many people, how many stable patients are on 3 months appointment. So when we say how many, we will basically require something where we build a logic that defines who should be in that group. And in Kenya EMR or in OpenMRS, you will be talking about a cohort definition because you are simply defining who should be in a group for like under 4 months. I think this is what I see here, the stable under 4 months. Yeah, so the query should actually list for you IDs of those people whose TCAs, I mean, those people who are stable and are on 4 months, I mean, under 4 months TCA. So I think basically that is how you wire the reports. For example, yeah, how many are on 4 months TCA? You define how to get those who are stable and those who are on 4 months. And then what Wango wanted to show next is now what does the counting? You know, this is basically who is in that group. A cohort definition is about who is in the group. You know, you may want to build things from that. You may want, one of the things you may build is just a line list of those people. Another thing you may want to build is a count of those people. So for this particular report, we are interested in the count. And I think that's what one wanted to show next. No?
All right, thank you, Anthony. So I think after getting to a list of who is in that list, basically the indicator library does account for you and says, if you have like 20 guys, this is what gives you that figure of 20, which we showed in the report. So basically the cohort library shows you who, the indicator library does the actual count. So you basically, if you have, for example, if you have this diff, you get the who, and when you go to the indicator library, if you look for it, you can see it here, and you can see now, start seeing how it is wired up. So you have like stable over 6 months mapping. I would just click this, it will bring me, it will take me to the actual cohort library. So you see, this is the actual cohort library that is defines the who, and the count is done at this particular point of the indicator library. So even you can read the actual comment is number of patients in care with over 4 months. I think it should be 6 months here. So 4 months is here, 4 months, TCE. So basically these two files, what they do, the first one defines who is in that list, then the second one does the count. And the count is the one that is recorded in your report builder. So if I would go to the actual report builder, yes. Nataka kurelate. Teka moja. No, yes, here is the yes. So here is where we call it the indicator library. So we call this class of the indicator library that did the count. And it will, using the so here we add the disaggregation for age groups and gender. So you can see here, these are the custom ones that I had mentioned earlier. And then we have disaggregations for the various.
Yeah, so Wango, maybe let me just come in kidogo. So we saw what a cohort definition has. It is just a list of patients or clients to be, I mean, in a group. Now, if you look at an indicator, just click on the indicator library. The file itself, the file. Yeah, so a cohort indicator returns a number. It returns a number, and by default, it will return a count. That's why in line 32, we are talking about stable patients, 6 months plus prescription. If you look at this cohort, so if you pass, what you need to pass to a cohort indicator is just the list of people you want. or you've defined. So you see here where the cursor is, we are referring to a cohort library for stable over 6 months TCA. So what these line 31 to 33 will do, it will return a count of people. So just click on that. Let's just follow that. Yeah, it will execute this query and returns the count. It will and returns the count higher. And you see, if you don't pass any disaggregation, it will basically give you the total. So let's go to the report builder again. So without any disaggregation, which in the system we call dimensions, we will have totals. Just scroll. Yeah. So you see what happens in line 68. We have a column for totals, and we are simply passing a blank dimension, meaning we don't want to add anything like age group, or gender. We just want total. So this one will basically do a count for everybody in that group. Line 67, we are looking at males who are 15 years and above. So that is what will give us the males 15 and above. Line 66 will give us this one, females 15 and above. And line 65 will give us those who are below 40, I mean, those who are up to 14 years old. So just understand that in the system, if you are to do an indicator report, you will need for every indicator or variable you want to talk about, you will define a query that will provide the total. And then if you want disaggregations, you'll then use dimensions in the system to now disaggregate that. That is how we do, I mean, we have indicators or variables with age and sex disaggregations, and at the end of it all, also have the totals. So I think basically that's how things are wired here. Yes, but I'll take it back to Patrick.
Yes, and an important thing to know is that this disaggregation, the way you apply them when you are actually on the builder, is that you can count the various disaggregation. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see here, this is how the 4 columns are applied. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. For the various disaggregation, that is the age, that is 0 to 14, then age and gender, 15 plus female, 15 plus male, and total.
Yeah, so maybe if we just wanted the total counts, then in the column parameters, we'll just have the column total as the only parameter. So you can remove the other ones.
It would look like that.
Yeah, and then when adding rows, you'll not even need the add row now. You can just use add column. And add column, you just add a specific column. But I think what? So here you can just scroll to the left or right. I don't know. So because you don't want, we only want the totals, and we can have the label as total, you can just remove these other ones so that we remain with 0, 1. Anyway, yeah, you don't have to remove everything. So basically, that's how things are. We've just switched machines. I think we can try out something simple. So we can just undo the changes we've made here. Are you able to hear me? Huh?
From your break.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
You are breaking. I think the network is not
So
very stable.
I think it's just setting up, huh? So it should be audible in a few.
Can you hear me?
I think it still have some minor issues with the sound. So once it sorts out that, we will be proceeding just in a few minutes. Just in a few, 1 minute.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Now you're audible.
Okay. Which report? Which one? So I think we can just start. Which branch is this?
Go with baby Shina. Don't leave your baby. It's just your baby. Is that my baby or your baby?
Yeah, somebody to mute. Somebody to mute. Somebody. So we can have something like sample reports here, so that I don't mess up Patrick's code. But suppose we wanted to add a new report. I'll just so what we need is to have like to understand the kind of report we want. For example, if we just want, we can do an indicator report first. So an indicator report will just be something like this. What happens, we can just add maybe something here, like add-on report, so that now there is no point of reinventing the wheel. We need an indicator report, and oh, we are in the library. So I'll just pick report builder. Here in the builder, we want something like a builder for this one. It's called what? Differentiated care stability report builder. Differentiated care stability report. So if, let's say, we just copy this and paste it, we just want to have a clone of this, and we call it add-on module report builder. I mean, sample report builder. We can just add it for now. Now, here, there are things we need to understand. The builds is basically the name. When you'll be configuring the report, you will need this one. So we can just call this anything, so long as this is basic. This is like the unique identifier for the report. So we can call it like add-on sample report. And then here, I'll not want us to use any disaggregations for now. So okay, let me maybe move just step by step. So here we are extending an abstract report builder class, which basically should give us what we want. So in our report builder, we have we need to specify a data set. You know, we have a report. Look at it as a document, like an Excel document, and then a data set is more of, we can look at this as a section just to, where is Excel? Guys, Paul, Windows elewangi sana. I just want to show what I, okay. So let me share another screen. Where is the desktop? I want to share the screen. I want to share. Where is it? Okay. Sawa. Do you see my Excel?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So suppose this is our report. I just want to explain about. Oh, it's okay. You can see my Excel, right?
Yes.
So what we want to understand here is a builder, and then a data set, and then rows. So basically, if we have like different sections, we can have this section here. Can use that color. Here, can use this color. So look at the yellow section and the green section. Suppose we wanted to do a report that where the yellow and green sections are different. We can think of the whole of this sheet as our report. So in our builder, we will define what it is. It's an indicator report. But this section, let's say here, we will have the yellow section, let's say it is for like, and then the green section is like for KP. So we will need to, just for readability and a bit of organization, we will need to do data sets, two data set definition, one to cover the HIV, another one to cover for KP. How to achieve that in our code? Where is it? How to achieve that? You see in line 54, we are actually building data sets. We are building data sets, and we just provide them as a list. The first data set we build, we add here is this stability. If you click on stability, it brings you here. It's more of just a report section. So it can have a name and the columns. You know, the columns definitely will be like rows and columns. So for our stability, for the new report, this is, I want to call this, what example can we use? Just so that it sounds fresh. You are the data people one. What can we use? Give suggestions. Can we talk about clinical visits so that instead of stability, we just want clinical visits? We'll do a very simple one. So I'll just change this to clinical visits. We just want to know how many people visited the clinic. It's just right. Yeah, so we have a data set that will give us the counts for the clinical visits that we had at some point. So in our data set, we just want just a count, a simple count of those who came. So I'll remove all these other ones and just have one row. And this one row should give us we can even talk about what can we have? We can have four. Huh? We can have patients visits. Let's just call it this. Now we want to add a row. We want to add a row. How, Patrick? How do you? I want to share the whole of the desktop. I don't want to stop. Where is it? Okay. How do you show everything? I want to show all screens so that I stop sharing. And where is the desktop? How is it done here? Oh. Huh? Where is it? Where is that desktop? Okay, so I think it's slightly different from what we know, but I can actually just say that let's talk about these visits, just so that you understand. Maybe you can help me identify some of the variables we may want to know, so that we build a very simple report. Any suggestions? Okay, so I hope you can hear me. We can have people in HIV, and so we can have actually a section called enrolled in HIV, and another one not in HIV. Okay? So we may just want to have something like, yeah, let's say we have like an indicator like 01. Let's call it all patient. We have another one here called all patients. And then we have maybe a disaggregation of 0 to 14. Males 15 to 19. Females 15 to 19. And let's say above 20. So we call it 20 plus. Huh? So something like this. Can you hear me? Hey, are we together?
Yes, I can hear you.
Huh?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
You guys are very quiet, bana. Let's do this together. Unajua, when you participate, you actually get closer to this so that I don't think you guys already have the answers. So in our report, we want to add 2 sections. The yellow section, I'll just copy this one. Just have it down here. Yeah, so the sections are actually 2. The one for people in HIV, the other one is people not in HIV. So we just need to understand this. So basically we'll need, let's say this section is called, on the paper report, it's maybe labeled section 1, and here section 2. We now want to add this report. So in our report builder, we can now change. Sorry, I'll have to stop sharing again. Yeah. Okay. You can put this image somewhere. You can take a screenshot, put it somewhere so that when I talk about the code, you can actually have a reference to it. I'll do a new share. And I think can you see my code? You see my code?
Yes, we can see your code.
Okay. So I think now that we even know the report we want to build, I'll quickly change this name to can I say patient clinical visits report builder, something like that. Now, with that, I'll now change my ID to TL common patient clinical visits so that we are aligned. And here it's always good to just do something, report builder for clinical patients, clinical visits. Now, forget about line 40, forget about line 43 right now. We just want to define our two data sets. The first data set should be patients enrolled in HIV. I will just copy this and paste it here and do patients not enrolled in HIV. Are we together up to that point? So in our report builder, we are building data sets in line 54, and we want to add two data sets. We have patients enrolled in HIV, and then I'll just duplicate this line and also add patients not enrolled in HIV. So in a way, we are telling our report, our builder, that we will be building two data sets. We will be building a report with two data sets. The first data set is those who are in HIV program, and the other one is those who are not in HIV program. So patients in HIV program speaks to the yellow section in the Excel. Patients not enrolled in HIV speaks to the green section in the Excel that we shared. Now, we will just try and maybe reuse the disaggregations, but they are not required anyway. I just don't want us to change a lot right now. But of importance, if you look at our dataset definition, patients enrolled in HIV, we are in line 63, we are doing an indicator dataset definition, meaning it's expecting, so that is the indicator dataset definition. So if you look at the dataset definition, if you look at the dataset definition, we'll be adding a row, and this row, a problem. Okay, look at line 78. We just want patient visits. Just want patient visits. So as I had mentioned, we want a count of these people. So basically, we need to define these things somewhere. Where are the queries that we'll use? How will we even do them? So that is what is now in the cohort definition. So I said I'll not reinvent the wheel. So I'll just refactor this so that we have something called clinical visits, so that it speaks to what we want. And then I'll just pick these two things here, the cohort library and the indicator library. I will explain. So if we just paste them here, yeah, we'll just paste them. But then I want us to change the names I want us to change the names. Like for the cohort library, we now call it patient visits cohort library. And then this other one, we call it patient visits indicator library. So it's okay. So what we basically want, I'll remove everything. I'll remove everything except just one thing, this one. So I'll remove all these so that we just remain with something. We just want patient visits cohort library. So in our cohorts, we are interested in two cohorts. We want patients enrolled in HIV and we need another one called patients not enrolled in HIV. Are we together? We just want to define how we will get to the list of those who are enrolled in HIV and those not enrolled in HIV. Are we together up to that point? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Motivation, motivation, morale. So, even without changing the query first, we can see for patients enrolled in HIV, we can actually just change this is a cohort definition and it's a SQL cohort definition. So it expects an SQL statement. We can just change this to patients enrolled in HIV. Sometimes when it evaluates a report, it will show you this, but you have to look at the logs. So returns a list of patients enrolled in HIV. We can change this other one, patient not enrolled in HIV, with the description of returns a list of patients enrolled in HIV. So from our descriptions, we want a list of patients enrolled in HIV. And here we want a list of those, returns a list of patients, not enrolled, This is not enrolled in HIV. So this one will now help us get to the query. So when we say a list of patients in the system, you just need to return a list of patient IDs. That will, the system will now help with the translations to, I mean, this is a patient, this is not a something. So a cohort in the system is a list of unique IDs. It's a list of unique internal IDs in the system. It's a list of unique objects. That is what a cohort is in the system. So a SQL cohort definition is a definition that defines, using SQL statement, a list of objects in the system. This is what I'll do here. So for patients enrolled in HIV, if we were to use the ETL, we have, what's the ETL name? Let me just, ETL. I just want to see which tables to use. Call it. Oh, so what do we want? Sorry. We want those who are enrolled in HIV. Sorry. This report is about patient visits, but we want to know of those who visited, how many are in HIV, how many are not in HIV. So we need to know, first of all, where visits data is stored. And that one is in the table to use is in ETL, these are the tables. For this one, we will do ETL patient HIV follow-up because, yeah, so here we will have, but HIV follow-up is for, I mean, the green card and what have you. How else can we get those who visited, not in HIV? Anyway, I'll just use this to. Okay, I'll simplify the what. Okay, we can use HIV follow-up to know those who actually visited and are in HIV program, because HIV follow-up will only be populated for people who are in HIV. So let's just get it from here. So for this query, the very first query, we are actually removing so many things here. We just want to return a list of patient IDs. Our barebone query should be select patient ID from this. That's basically people. It will give us people who visited and they are in HIV. I know that the other bit, people not in HIV, is somehow, okay, we'll need to like check with other tables where they are actually people who visited but not in HIV. We can get to that after this, but for this one, we just need select patient ID from Etl HIV follow-up. It's just this one. It's just this one. So if we remove everything else, if we just remove everything else and just have this, so let's just see how many people have had HIV follow-up. This is the query that we'll use. But you see, it's only returning patient ID. The output of this query will not have duplicates. It's a set in Java. So if you have like duplicates, it will only return a value once. A patient ID will only be returned once. So this one is the query that will give us the people we need. But now we need a count of these people. And this count are defined in the visits indicator library. Patients and if you look at the indicator library, I'll again remove everything else, except for now, we'll just remain with that one. Now, we want patients in patient visits. Yeah. No, this is patients enrolled in HIV. Yeah, so that's why it's actually important. Number of patients who visited and are enrolled in HIV. So basically, we are doing this. And then you see here, we are talking about patient visits cohort library. If you do this, just have, we want this one, the first one, patients enrolled in HIV. So we'll come here, patients enrolled in HIV, it will map to this one, but now it should patients enrolled in HIV. I hope we are together. Any question? With this, oh, sorry. So here we also need to patients enrolled in HIV. So where we are, our indicator library is only returning, it just has one definition, and it's for those enrolled in HIV, which basically will evaluate this query. This query, it will get a list of the patient ID, and the indicator library will basically count those people for us. So if we go back to our report builder, we are still, actually, we can remove the second data set for now, so that we just remain with patients enrolled in HIV. So we can actually, yeah, patients enrolled in HIV. So here, you see here the dataset name. In this dataset, I said for now we can just reuse these ones, but we'll see how we can remove them. Basically, this report, the description for this dataset is a dataset for patients who are enrolled in HIV program. This is just for us to know later on when someone else will be looking at your code, they'll be able to see this. And the dataset name can actually, you can give some number. I mean, like in the Excel that we had, we called it 1. So you can just set it to 1 so that it matches with what we have in the Excel. So here, we want to add a row. Basically, we want to add now the real counts. These are now the patient visits, you see. And then we have a small problem. And this problem is here. We don't have these things. But no worries, because we now want to bring in the cohort definition that we created. You remember the query we wrote, and then the indicator where we are basically pointing to the counts. So this is, we need to now change this. It's called patient visits indicator library, I think, which is okay. But now in our library, we only have patients enrolled in HIV. So when we pass this one, when we pass this, then we don't have an issue. I'll just repeat the same here so that we do away with the error. Yeah, so so what basically we are doing, we are adding a row. We are adding a row which will give us patient visits, basically the counts, and these counts are defined here. How to do the count is here. If you follow this, it's an indicator, so it will be a count, and the count will just return a count of this query. Select patient ID from Etl patient, something like that. So coming back here, we said let's just retain the disaggregations. So 01, 02, 03, 04 corresponds to when we are adding column parameters, we have all 0 to 14. That is 01. 02 will be females, 15 plus. 03 will be males, 15 plus, and then the total. All these are here. All 10 to 14. No gender disaggregation. Females 15 plus, which is basically here. Males 15 plus, and then totals. I will show you where to find this disaggregation, so don't you worry. So up to here, we'll basically just have one row. We'll have one row with 4 columns. The first column will be 0 to 14. The second one will be females 15 plus. The third one will be males 15 plus. And the fourth one will be the totals. All those on the view will be, you'll see like something 1 -01 -02 -03 -04 for the corresponding column labels. So I think right now we are actually done with this report. We are actually done with this report. So if we were to look, this is what the report does. We have parameters. We are passing no parameter right now. So even the date thing, we can add it maybe if you want to filter those who visited within a period. But for this first pass, we'll just go with a blank one. And then in our data set, we are just looking at those enrolled in HIV. And we'll just have, so let me remove this one for now so that we build our understanding. I'll remove any unnecessary imports. So here, it's always good to just rename these things. Our indicator library is actually for patient visit, just for, conformity. This is how to actually do this, this thing. Wow. So I think we are done. What is left is now to configure this report so that it's visible. We see how it comes out. So I think I'll hand over back to Wangu so that we configure this module application context, and then we just see what we will have. You can ask questions as Wangu takes over.
I'll configure this. So we said we're going to use the builder name. So we say this is like a unique identifier for that particular report. So we just pick that name and we're already in a branch. As we had said like last time, the module application context is what wires everything together. So you can see my screen. So I think this most likely looks like a common form. So we'll simply hook it up into the commons. So we'll go to the report section. And basically we can put it activation. So we'll just put it below here, and it's we've called it. So we have called it patient clinical visits. So can have this. We can call it patient clinical visits report. So this is the identifier name. The identifier name which we gave it in the builder is what you're going to copy there. It basically identifies the particular report. So here it is. I'm gonna call it. So you're going to have it like in the bin ID. So it is in the descriptor. We need a unique UUID for it. So I'll just generate. I think you can recall what we did the other time. So I'm just going to generate a unique ID for that particular form. So I can UUID generator. ID generator. You can use the online UUID generator. It is. So I can copy that UUID. And for each particular report, you need a unique UUID. So there it is. So on the name, you can give it the name that was here. So you can just say it's patient clinical visits report. Visit report. So a small description. So just a report for patient clinical visit. A report for patient clinical visits. So it's under the apps and reports. So as a template. Okay. So as we don't have to use a template. So for this particular report, we need to define it up there. Okay. So, okay. Okay, you can just put it where it is. clinical visit. No, I think we are done wiring it, and it under Kenya EMR common that we can view it. Make sure everything. Yeah. So I just built this. So it is building. As it's building, I think if anyone has a question, can ask. Chat on. So it's currently building. So we are building the Kenya EMR, which we have the branch that we've added for this sample report.
Yeah, and maybe just to mention that whatever we've done, we can actually just copy the files and put them in the add-on module, and it will be the same thing. Maybe before, if we'll get time, we'll just copy those to the add-on module, remove them from Kenya EMR, and oh, we changed something. Eh? So, patient visit indicator. What's that? Let me see. Differentiated care report bill. Oh, so do you mind just copy those files to an add-on module, and then restore Kenya EMR? Because I think when I refactored, yeah, so we refactored some files which have I can see. Or maybe you just restore that file. Eh?
Wait,
Not clinical visits. Whatever is complained, huh? The differentiated.
no problem.
Enter the errors. Try and
Renamed it.
oh, just enter, control enter on that. So, what if we just copy what we've worked on into an add-on module, and then we just that will take a long time. Let's just copy this to another. So,
I just need to copy this file.
Yeah.
Duplicate it.
Now share this. Just share this screen now. Just show them.
All right, can you see my new screen? Can you see my new screen?
Yes, we can see.
So we're going to have our report builder in the add-on module. So basically, as you can see the hierarchy, there is a file called reporting. So just add a package called reporting. So inside the reporting, we'll have the builder. So simply the hierarchy. So just the way it was in the Kenya EMR. So we have reporting, builder, and can simply have another package called HIV. And inside here, we are going to put our builder.
That's not the builder.
Oh yeah, here it is. I can just fast. First complain about yeah. I'll just add the additional file library. Add yeah. Okay, so I need now to add the two libraries and make sure that I add also the dependencies. So we have library and our on the ETL reports, we have the cohort library and the library that we need to add. On the file structure.
reporting.
Under reporting.
Under reporting, we had directory library. We just want to, so that it's easy to actually refer. So, or you put the two. Yeah.
The library we can.
Should have actually done. But okay. Yeah, so dependency.
Okay. You can all see this how we add the dependencies. So you can put the version there. OpenMRS reporting dependency. Then we do the same.
Yeah, so I think one mistake we did was to try and add that report in the Cohort EMR. So one thing I think we should have done is to make the add-on module have the necessary dependencies, because we want to build reports, we want to build forms, yeah, we want to add programs and stuff like that. So, so cohort indicator, this is, so do this, add that, check if that dependency is in the API form. So those are some of the things we said we'll do for you so that you don't actually do them. it's already there. That's the API. Okay.
We have an issue with the redundancy. Where is it from? Yeah, so we needed just to depend on the right module.
Yeah, so
basically that's it. Then,
yeah.
So basically, we have the builder, then two cohort libraries. Now we go wire them up in the module application context.
You can basically just pick what you require.
Here we add one report. So we fix the report ID.
What's happening? I can't see you adding stuff, yeah?
Okay. I think we can pick what we had simply added and pick it there. So we just add things like a bin, I think. Okay. Now we need to sign it up here.
Remove the template thing. Template. Oh. Okay, yeah.
And I think we need to hold it up here.
Yes, so we have configurations for form. I think we need to add a configuration for reports.
Okay. I copy paste, but we are fast on it.
Yeah, so you'll realize that in the add-on module, this is how you inject things to Kenya EMR. So there is configuration for forms. Basically, Kenya EMR will look at this and pull whatever you add here. And then there is a section for report configuration. So that's where we need to put our stuff. Just, yeah. I think that's it, huh?
I think I can build the add-on module.
So we can build it and just see.
Mm. So I'm building the form and then we'll add it. And now I'll run. So it's now loading, waiting for it to first finish. So it's refreshing context, you're almost done.
Oh.
Yes, we can take any questions so far. I'll wait for it to finish loading.
Yeah, so there was a question about disaggregations for that team. So maybe I'll just ask Patrick to switch to Kenya EMR, then we show you how things are done there. As we wait for that to load. Nitakupigia kidogo tu.
You can see the Kenya EMR code.
So common dimensions, those are basically the disaggregations in the system, or where you define your disaggregations. The ones that come out of the box, as Patrick had mentioned, are those for gender and age. So anything extra, I think you will have to do. So just open common dimensions. This is HIV testing. Share Kenya EMR.
think you can also see it.
Yeah. So line 34 to 40 is a gender disaggregation. We only have two. We have males and females. So if you pass like, you know, our cohort simply returns patient IDs. So the system looks, it loops through that list and marks those who are males, those who are females. Now, line 46, but that is done by the system. You just need to define what you want. So here in line 37, sorry, in line 37, we have a key M, and that key M simply evaluates to those people who are males. Line 38 is, the key is F, and it evaluates to those who are female. So these keys are the ones that we now use in our report builder. So when you want male, refer to M. When you want a female, you refer to it as F. Now, when we now cover age groups, line 46 to 54 is 1. And here, the standard age group simply has those who are below 1, those who are below 15, and the 15 plus. All these, remember, take note of the keys and don't mind about what they evaluate to. Like for less than 1, we are working with those whose ages are between, I mean, whose ages are at most 0. Less than 15, we have age at most 15, and those who are 15 plus, we have this. If you go down, maybe we just look for datum. I think that was the question. Yeah, we have datum age groups. That is 76 to 88. So this is basically what we have. 10 to less than 1, 1 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, that and that. Then we have another datum one from line 94, which basically, this is what we use in Kenya EMR currently. So we have less than 1, 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 1 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, all the way to line 120. So these are basically what you take note of are the keys. And you can, when building your report on the add-on module, you can actually define your dimensions for age so that that is what you use. Remember, you don't have to use what is in Kenya EMR. So if you go to any report builder, just this patient clinical visit report builder, or we use, yeah, I think it's okay. If you look at dimensions, in line 63, we are saying that our data set will use the age dimension, and line 64 says we'll use the gender dimension. Okay, so with that, we then now do the line 66 to 69, now define exactly what we want. So for line 66, we just want 0 to 14. That's the label. And the dimension is actually age is equal to less than 15. If you look at these in the dimensions, you'll find this key, age less than 15. And then the next one, we have gender is equal to F, and age is 15 plus. As you can see, so age in line 66, age is for the age, you see, it points to line 63, that is age. So it will look for in age where key is less than 15. For line 67, it will look at gender and look for where F, gender, look for the key F, and also age of 15 plus. So those are the keys we were referring to. So basically, that is how these aggregations are done in Kenya. You don't have to do like the hard calculations, the hard computations. All you need to do, you just define your dimensions, you provide your cohort, and the system will place everything for you. So it's not done. Yeah, so we have, just show us the report whether it has come or not. Yeah, so we can see we've added patient clinical visits report. So click on it. Just request, it's okay whether it errors or not. I think just resolve. So if you request, already we've seen there is an error. If you open the error, you'll see failed to evaluate dataset 1. All that. Just scroll so that we know what the error is. Scroll down. Huh?
Let me share the screen for you to see the notable like.
Oh, okay. So we made a mistake. We actually, we are supposed to use the ETL database, but in our query, we just said select patient ID from ETL HIV follow-up. So can you share the code? Or just scroll here where we are so that they are also able to pick what the error is.
So I think I've shared Kenya EMR where you can see the error. I think I've shared the Kenya EMR where you can see the error. And so here is the error. Can you see that?
Scroll. Anyway, it's okay. Maybe we just talk about this one. As you can see, the error here is, where is it? It's actually trying to run this query against OpenMRS database where we don't have this table called ETL patient HIV follow-up. So I think for ETL tables, we just qualify the table and by the database. So just do Kenya EMR ETL dot, that will fix the thing. Just do it build and it executes. We have to see the report.
You can see the way I'm adding. Are you seeing?
Yeah, we can see.
I think
Yeah, just load.
there is no other one. Here we go, sound.
It's just that one. Yeah, and I think that's part of development. You'll forget something, you do what, but basically, maybe we can take some questions as we wait. What's that?
So Anthony, maybe as we read it.
Wait, build the nini. Change. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Anthony. So my question is just like if I recreate the ETL tables,
yeah,
does it affect any other data structures? Like if I had a view that is addressing maybe the first viral loads, and I recreate the ETL tables, does it delete anything that is not related to the general structure?
The structure of the ETL is that there is first time setup where it will basically pick data fresh from the database, from the transactional database, which is OpenMRS. When you recreate, you're basically doing that first time setup. So you are not losing anything.
So if you are to reintroduce anything new, like a view, it will not be affected by recreating.
So I think what and we will discuss this when as we continue with this add-on module discussion, we will try and find the best way of making sure that any injections done from an add-on module regarding the ETL is actually retained when you recreate. So basically what we will be overriding are those things that come from the core Kenya EMR, so that what you have in your ETL basically updates what is defined in core. So that way you will not be losing anything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You can have more questions as it builds.
Yeah, so right now I think it may still look complicated, but once you just know what you need to do, remember you'll be defining a report once, so everybody will just be looking at the same thing, and you'll have an easier way of deploying the report. So it's not difficult. Right now, I think we are still juggling between the platform, you're juggling between, Java, SQL. But once you know where to touch, I think adding a report should be depending on the nature of the report, simple reports should just take a day. Yeah. And you know, we touched on an indicator report. We have like the line lists, which are straightforward. All you do is to just define, like the way we did this, the cohort definition, and then you just pass your columns. That's it. We were hoping that we could have time to show that. Practicals are usually funny.
And in addition, I think for this add-on module, which we've already done a form, a report, we could share it so that you guys could have a look at it, since you already have the context. Any more questions, suggestions?
Can we have questions? Oh, show us how to set up this environment intelligent. I think this requires one-on-one. So maybe we can plan and have one of our team members to just take you through. Any other questions? I think we are almost, maybe in the next 3 minutes.
Now we can check up our report. So I'm just going to request it again. I think it's, so you can see. What is the name?
Okay, there is a small problem. So basically, I think we did what? We used the wrong report type in our definition. I think we used something hybrid. Yeah, so, but forget about the name. These are the things we wanted to add. I think we can refine these together, maybe in the next sessions, but the indicator one should ideally return these as numbers with hyperlinks for viewing the cohorts. At least that is one step done, so we can just do the right thing. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. It's actually 10 minutes past 1. So I think, I mean, the issue, we will not resolve this issue. We will just wait so that we resolve it together. Or we can share the GitHub links and then share how we will resolve it there. I don't know which one will work for us. But Wango, you know where the issue is, eh? Maybe you can show the report definition, then we just point out. The add-on. Yeah, so the class, the hybrid report descriptor, I think also go to where? Go to the report builder. Here we are talking about hybrid report descriptor. When we come to visits report builder, we are extending abstract report builder. I think we have a small issue there. Yeah, it's basically just that. So if those are aligned, then we'll have the correct output. So I think that's what we've been able to cover today, right? At least we've shown how to do a report from scratch. We haven't had like the final output the way we wanted, but I think we've seen what it takes to do a report, building blocks, what you need to know. Yeah, so we hope to continue building on that knowledge every week so that very soon each and every one of us will be able to do a report, do forms, and any other thing through the add-on module. Over to you, Patrick. And thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you, guys. I hope we've learned a lot. So what I'm going to do, this add-on module, we are going to push it into a Git repo and share with the team. So everybody can come and look through. So of interest would be how to look up the reporting builder, the builders, the cohort library, the indicators, and the module application context on how we've wired this. So in a nutshell, we've created this report through, I think, the 4 files. And so I think guys can just clone them, and even if they want, they can add one of their own. They can just follow the steps that we have explained and done, and view that module into their modules folder and try to check out their indicator report. For the cohort report, I'm going to liaise with the team. We can see if we need a session with it, but basically it will be building on what we've already started on. It might be even a shorter session. I think we've already done almost everything. If there's no questions, I'm gonna leave it there and hand it back to Otieno. Any question? I think over now to you, Ben. Ben, are we together? So I'm gonna be sharing the Git link to this add-on module. Thank you. Otieno, are we?
Yeah, maybe we can just hear something from these guys. Eh? I don't know how to pronounce this. Hastings, or is it Hastings? Do you have anything? Huh? Wambua, if you are present. Kevin.
Yes.
Anything?
I think we're just looking forward to the next session.
Yeah. Thank you. Matthew?
I'm good, thank you.
Victor? Wayne?
I wanted to say thank you for the tutorial, and I have learned a lot.
Thanks.
And we'll be looking forward to continuing this process.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so I think, I don't know whether Otieno is back, but if he is not, I think we can say we've come to the end of our session today. It's been long, I believe very helpful, very informative, and we can't wait for the next session next week. Thanks everyone for attending, and please, we can start trying out things so that when we meet next time, at least we know, we are aware of your pain points. We start by addressing them, and that way we'll have a very nice knowledge sharing sessions. Thanks all, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. utaweza kuwa mwalimu. Hey, unaweza kuwa mwalimu. Ilifika mahali tukachoka. Hata hakunanga lesson ya 3 hours. Hata lesson yenyewe hakunanga ya 3 hours. Yeah. But I've even realized this is a very good, like whatever we've done to push up, and we've taken them through, it's a very good reference point. And it's simple, it's small, simple.